See you then.
On World News Tonight this Friday, a surprising drop in the unemployment rate and what it tells us about the economy. We'll see where the jobs are. From the country's biggest tobacco company, a massive anti-smoking campaign. Is it smoke and mirrors? Technology on the cutting edge, sort of. First there was a wind-up radio. Could there now be a wind-up computer? And we'll take a closer look at the healing power of laughter. Send in the clowns.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with an economy so strong that even with the negative impact of the Asian crisis here, more jobs are being created than there are workers to fill them. 267,000 jobs were created last month, and the unemployment rate at 4.4% is about as low as it has been in 28 years. This is really a story of two domestic economies, because while some of the big manufacturers, Boeing comes to mind this week, are having to cut back, the rest of the economy is just barreling along. First, here's ABC's Betsy Stark.
Hello, Successories. This is Brenda. How can I help you?
Today's employment report is powerful proof the U.S. economy is now dominated by an enormous sector called the service industry, including everything from healthcare to retailing. Retailers added 65,000 workers last month in preparation for the holiday onslaught, and even so, jobs continue to go unfilled.
It's been one of the toughest things that we've had to do this season is find good help, qualified people.
Service businesses need lots of office workers, and employers also hired tens of thousands of them in November. Accountants, computer and data processing technicians, temporary workers, engineers, customer service reps, all were in demand in industries ranging from healthcare and education to technology and transportation. Demand for professional workers is so high, unemployment among college graduates is virtually non-existent, just 1.9%. Outside the service industry, the boom in construction hiring continued. Builders hired 47,000 new workers in November. In Atlanta, they would have hired more if they could find them.
There are so many jobs available. If a certain worker doesn't work out with our company, he knows that he can go right down the street and get a job with somebody else, probably the same day.
It's still a tough job market for Americans working for companies that do a lot of business overseas. But in the service industry, the customers are often local. And right now, those customers have money to spend. Betsy Stark, ABC News, New York.
The ramifications of unemployment near a 28-year low. Now to oil prices at a 12-year low. This is also having an enormous impact, both good and bad. Here's ABC's Bob Jamieson.
The Union Pacific Railroad uses 1.3 billion gallons of diesel fuel a year. In the last 3 months alone, its fuel costs were $20 million less than a year ago. Another winner is freight hauler MS Carriers. With 4,000 trucks each guzzling a gallon of fuel every 7 miles, lower oil prices will save the Memphis company $45 million this year. For American Airlines, the savings will be a whopping $300 million this year because jet fuel costs a dime a gallon less than it was last year. Consumers are unlikely to see that savings passed on to them. But for some businesses and regions of the country, the drop in oil prices has actually been a hardship. It has meant lost profits, lost jobs, and lost revenue. The state of Oklahoma will lose $80 million in royalties from its oil fields. The University of Texas Endowment will get $15 million less this year because oil companies are pumping less on university-owned lands. 2/3 of the oil rigs in West Texas are idle, and independent drillers have seen their revenue cut in half.
We cut every expense possible. We let people go. We reduce overhead. We scratch by and wait for better times.
Even non-oil businesses have been hurt. At the new brewery bar in Odessa, business is off 65% because lower oil prices have put so many out of work. Bob Jamieson, ABC News, New York.
Still on the money tonight, an economic milestone. The economy has now been growing for 93 straight months. That is 1 month more than the record for peacetime economic expansion set during the Reagan-Bush years. On Wall Street today, the investors were encouraged by the news about lower unemployment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up more than 136 points to close at 1916. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up more than 48 points. In a moment, tobacco advertising, back on television.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Boeing.
Soon, I'll be able to look into the night sky and see our work up there, with the Big Dipper, the moon, and the stars.
I got to see a man walk on the moon. My kids deserve to see something as inspiring.
It is huge, like a mountain or a skyscraper, but also huge like the wheel, the atom, penicillin, and electricity.
Из космоса границы стран неразличимы. И для того, что мы делаем сегодня, 16 стран должны иметь один такой взгляд на нашу планету.
We owe this to all the great minds that came before us, to Copernicus, Newton, and all the great minds still to come.
NASA and its worldwide partners have launched the first stages of the International Space Station.
Forget these. Remember this. Smile. Eat. Make a mess. Make a memory. Escape to Red Lobster.
There's a tobacco story today that is impossible to ignore. The country's largest tobacco company, Philip Morris, says it is going to spend $100 million next year to discourage kids from smoking. More than half of that will go to a television ad campaign. Here's ABC's Barry Serafin.
The last tobacco company ads to appear on television were meant to make smoking appear pleasurable.
If it's Philip Morris, king size or regular, your throat can tell it's America's finest cigarette.
But cigarette ads on television were banned in 1971. The new Philip Morris ads, scheduled to start Monday, bear a different message, designed to discourage teenage smoking.
So, you want to know why I've decided not to smoke? Which reason would you like?
I don't need to smoke to prove myself. My coolness is not on trial here.
I don't smoke because sometimes it's what you don't do that makes you who you are.
Why is the company launching a campaign to reduce teen smoking? Philip Morris officials declined to be interviewed, but released this statement.
At Philip Morris, it's important for us to tackle the issue of youth smoking because it's important to our employees, it's important to our consumers, and frankly, it's important to our business. And we need to bring youth smoking incidents down.
But critics say Philip Morris is trying to spruce up its image, especially in Congress, where it and other companies still face possible legislation to regulate tobacco.
I don't know if it will forestall action, but I think it will make them look better on Capitol Hill. They'll look more responsible, and they will have their allies on Capitol Hill touting this.
When a company spends millions to discourage the purchase of its products, it invites questions about its motives. But Philip Morris says when it comes to teenagers, it is committed to reducing smoking. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
The Census Bureau issued its annual report today on the state of the country. By the numbers, thousands and thousands of statistics, basically a portrait of our lives. Americans as a whole are living longer. At the turn of the century, the average lifespan was 47. Today, it is 75. Today, people live longest in Hawaii. Today, only 20% of Americans exercise regularly. College graduates do the most. 55% of American homeowners who are over 65 have paid off their mortgages. 1 in 20 children in the U.S. are living with their grandparents. New York still collects the most taxes, followed by California. Delaware collects the least. Last year, Americans spent 4 times more money on computers and other electronic devices than they did on books and maps. And more than 75% of all libraries are now connected to the Internet. Big to the Internet in China today, a 30-year-old computer engineer was charged with using the net to undermine the state. He's accused of forwarding the email addresses of 30,000 Chinese computer users to an online democracy magazine in the U.S. When we come back, how it ended for a Texas inmate and a handgun at home. Are you safer with or without?
Every holiday season at Mailboxes, etc., 2 customers bring in 30 dozen shortbread cookies for us to package and ship for them.
I do most of the cutting and she does all the finishing touches. We both watch the oven.
They have to be packaged very carefully.
They don't even jiggle. They don't juggle. They fix them, stabilize them.
They got their all in one piece.
Not even a grain of sugar off.
Mailboxes, etc., making the holidays easier worldwide.
I want to keep my smile for life, don't you? But everybody has plaque, the leading cause of gum disease. 3 out of 4 people will have some form of gum disease in their lifetime. You can do something about it. Interplaque by Conair is clinically proven to remove nearly all plaque, even below the gum line. Its unique cleaning action can actually reverse gum disease. And now the totally cordless Odyssey, clutter-free, recharge in any outlet in as little as 10 minutes. ADA accepted Interplaque by Conair. Keep your smile for life.
I've loved investing all of my life. It allows me to think about all the new creative things going on around me. I come across companies with great new ideas. So what do? I jump onto Schwab.com and I can get all kinds of information. I can get earnings projections. I can get what the company's done in the past. I can get their balance sheet, something about their management. I think the internet is sort of the final empowerment of the individual. It allows me to have a complete, comprehensive amount of information to allow me to make a very informed decision. If you're going to be a sage investor, a thoughtful investor, someone who really knows, you can draw down this information when you want it, in the form that you want it, the customization you want it, as fast as you want it or as slow as you want it. It's about freedom. Now you're in control.
The White House unveiled what many people take as its strategy for the president's impeachment defense before the House Judiciary Committee next week. And according to the White House, it is going to take a while. They say at least 3 or 4 days. A Republican committee official said tonight this is a White House ploy to push any impeachment vote into the next Congress when there will be more Democratic members in the House. In Texas tonight, the manhunt is over. The man is dead. When they found the body of Martin Gurula, who had escaped from death row, he had a wound in his upper back. And the autopsy today showed it was a gunshot wound. The actual cause of death was drowning. Here's ABC's Steve Odsensami.
The 7-day manhunt for Martin Gurula had started to become a major embarrassment for Texas law enforcement. Today, there was no hiding investigators' relief.
It's through. It's all over. Gurula is no more. We have a clean record of all of our escapes now. We've got all our people back in custody.
Gurula's body was found wrapped in heavy-duty cardboard, hidden under his prison-issued uniform. Investigators say the makeshift body armor protected him as he climbed over these deadly razor-top fences. It was 2 off-duty corrections officers gone fishing who found the fugitive's body under a bridge in a creek about a mile east of the prison. The Texas Department of Corrections, or TDC, is taking comfort in knowing Gurula never made it past the established search area.
You really don't know. I tell you what, TDC was right. He never left the area.
That's right. In fact, search teams believe the sound of their bloodhounds probably forced the fugitive to hide in the water. On Monday, prison administrators begin deciding what steps they'll take to prevent this from happening again. One issue is the prison work program, which gave Gurula, a death row inmate, time outside his cell and the chance to escape. Steve Odsensami, ABC News, Atlanta.
This week, as you've seen, we have used the change in the federal gun laws to focus on several parts of the great debate about guns in America. Probably 40 million handguns in the U.S. Tonight, ABC's James Walker on this point. Are you better protected or not by keeping a gun in the house?
2 Florida women, 2 radically different experiences with handguns. Sammy Faust's home was invaded by a robber 2 years ago.
He was approximately where I am now, and I turned.
You were in the
saw
bedroom.
him. Correct.
So you saw him standing right there.
Right.
And then he came through the door.
Barreling in on me.
The robber beat her, cut her neck and face. Faust finally grabbed a gun she kept on her bed and killed him.
Had I not had that handgun, I would be dead.
Florida State University Professor Gary Kleck studies handgun use. He says Sammy Faust's experience is more common than we are usually told.
Evidence has consistently indicated that people who use guns in self-protection are less likely to be injured and less likely to lose property than otherwise identical victims who didn't have a gun to use.
Dr. Arthur Kellerman runs the Center for Injury Prevention at Emory University. He takes the completely opposite view.
The gun that represents the greatest danger to members of a household is the gun that's kept in that home for self-protection.
Kellerman points to tragedies like accidental shootings and what happened to Carol Pauly's husband.
I ran out the side of the house, and he was lying in the driveway.
Was he alive?
No.
Clifton Pauly was killed with his own handgun when he tried to stop a car thief.
I feel, he would still be here today.
If he had not picked up his pistol and taken it outside.
And flown out the door, right.
It's hard enough to decide whether it's safe to have a gun. Even worse, when you discover there is no agreement on how many incidents occur.
There's no doubt that the number of defensive gun uses in the home greatly exceeds the number of accidents with guns in the home.
According to Professor Kleck's studies, Americans use guns 2.5 million times a year to defend themselves.
His self-defense use numbers are very inflated, and I think don't jibe with reality.
Kellerman points to the annual Justice Department survey that finds not 2.5 million uses, but only 80,000. Both sides claim the facts are on their side. Like so many other issues in the gun debate, it comes down to what you believe and what risks you choose to take. James Walker, ABC News, New York.
In Washington, the man with opening fire inside the Capitol building last summer was found mentally unfit to stand trial. Russell Weston may never be tried for the murders of 2 Capitol Police officers. When we come back, low tech, which can actually be cutting edge.
Okay, you probably think they look alike. But with Gateway, you get basic help over the phone for as long as you own it. After a month, you pay for it. Here, you get a color printer. Nope, not here. This one you can trade in toward the purchase of a new one after 2 years. Yours forever. Still think they look alike? We'll build you a PC like this one for $1,598 or $45 a month. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and get more out of the box.
Tylenol House Call. Information for healthy living.
Well, it started in my hand. Now I feel it in my knee.
Kay Cook is one of over 20 million Americans with osteoarthritis, the most common form of arthritis. Researchers have discovered that the pain and stiffness of osteoarthritis are not caused from inflammation, as once thought, but from the gradual wearing down of cartilage, the shock-absorbing tissue in the joints.
I was surprised when the doctor told me it wasn't inflammation.
If you have osteoarthritis, what should you do? Experts recommend exercise for strength and flexibility. And if you have pain, experts recommend the medicine in Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief first. Tylenol Arthritis works up to twice as long as regular aspirin without the risk of stomach irritation.
I have arthritis, but I don't let it stop me.
If you have the symptoms of arthritis, talk to your doctor. You can get relief.
Tylenol House Call is brought to you by Extra Strength Tylenol.
Hi, Pumpkin. It's late. You should be asleep.
Mommy said that I could stay up until you got home. What you eating?
Cheerios.
For dinner?
They taste just as good at night. And remember I told you they were good for my cholesterol?
Oh, yeah.
An important new study shows that 3 cups of Cheerios whole grain oats a day added to a low-fat diet can help push your cholesterol down.
You know what else is good for my heart? A hug from you.
The one and Cheerios.
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip?
Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Overseas today, there were a frightening few moments in South Korea. A fully armed anti-aircraft missile was accidentally launched into busy airspace over the city of Incheon. Seconds later, the missile was automatically destroyed by a built-in safety device, but that sent a shower of metal fragments into a residential neighborhood, and 3 people were injured. Usually our report on cutting-edge technology has a fairly futuristic edge to it. Tonight, while it is certainly the future we are looking at, high-tech it is not. ABC's Richard Gisbert gets it cranked up in South Africa.
This is a story about power, the power of an idea. British inventor Trevor Bayliss thought a wind-up radio would be tailor-made for Africa, where electricity is scarce and batteries are expensive. A South African company, Baygen, bought into the idea, but found the cost of the radio was too high for the African market. End of story? Hardly, because Baygen was already building on Bayliss's idea and looking beyond Africa. They've made a wind-up flashlight. 30 seconds cranking buys you 7 minutes of light, courtesy of the same Bayliss generator the radio has. It's the engine of wind-up technology, and its low-tech look is deceptive. This crank and the spring that it's connected to are definitely low-tech. But there are a few high-tech bits in here that have been crucial in transforming what was an inspired but very basic idea into something that people would actually buy. There's a solar panel for sunny days and electronics that store power and regulate the spring, so it only unwinds when necessary, preserving energy. These changes make the new radio more marketable. Crank it up and it plays for an hour, twice as long as the original model. And more products are coming. The U.S. military is looking at wind-up landmine detectors. But the application that really has them excited around here is this one. This laptop computer is running off the energy generated in this flashlight. In effect, turning the flashlight into
a generator, absolutely.
A wind-up generator that could connect to and power any battery-operated device anywhere.
The technology is there, and it can be adapted to any product.
And the more products they build and sell in the first world, the cheaper the radio becomes for the third world. And that would be the realization of a simple idea, which has since spun off into an industry. Richard Gisbert, ABC News, Cape Town, South Africa.
When we come back, the clowns in intensive care.
Chevy Silverado, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year. It's bigger, it's more powerful. It's the truck from Chevrolet.
Morning seems so much brighter after a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Tylenol PM. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. I used to worry about taking something. How would I feel in the morning? And then I tried Tylenol PM. It stops my pain and helps me sleep. So in the morning, I'm rested, refreshed, ready to make the most of my day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
Introducing the Waterhouse Dow 30 Fund. Only from Waterhouse Securities. You can invest in 30 of America's leading blue chip companies. Companies that are literally household names. All in one convenient, no-load, no-transaction fee mutual fund. So call now for your free brochure and prospectus on the Waterhouse Dow 30 Fund. Available only from Waterhouse Securities, where investors who expect value feel right at home.
Tonight, Michael J. Fox tells me how he's living with Parkinson's disease.
My prognosis, if you ask me, is great for a long time, and then it's going to get really good.
For the first time, hear his inspirational story. 2020 tonight.
Finally from us this evening, medicine on the cutting edge when you send in the clowns. Here in New York City this week, the Big Apple Circus has been putting on its annual performance for children who are blind or deaf. 1,600 children entertained by the clowns in ways which are unique to circuses everywhere. The blind children wore headsets, all the zany goings-on described to them much as sports announcers describe a game. Was it a bit easier for the deaf children? Laughter need not be heard to be appreciated. But let's take a closer look at this tonight, for what you are seeing here is the science of laughter. At New York City's Presbyterian Hospital, the clowns of the Big Apple Circus are an important part of the medical faculty.
A hospital can be a very scary place. Doesn't it just make sense that sick kids need to laugh?
Behind the makeup, behind the program, is Michael Christensen, the co-founder of the Big Apple Circus and its clown care unit.
I remember one time in the ICU, a doctor turned to me and said, "Clowns do not belong in the ICU." I just turned to him and I said, "Neither do children."
And there is surely no other time when a child will be in such need of laughter. To see the clowns in action is to see their value, to see their genuine scientific value. Dr. Maria New is head of pediatrics here.
I remember particularly one child who'd been in the hospital for over 6 months. And then all of a sudden, one day, he was seeing the clowns and he began to get better.
Does this mean that laughter is a legitimate medical treatment? Might it actually be a cure?
It is not alternative medicine. There's nothing alternative about having your body be part of the healing process.
Professor Lee Burke of the Loma Linda School of Medicine in California has been studying laughter and medicine for 18 years. He comes to this conclusion: laughter works as an agent on a body's stress hormones.
Stress hormones that suppress the immune system. So then when we decrease those stress hormones, we actually allow for the immune system to actually crank itself back up.
This group in Professor Burke's laboratory is watching the comedian Gallagher, and as they laugh, Dr. Burke takes a blood sample. And under the microscope, he finds something else. Laughter increases the number of natural killer cells in the immune system.
Natural killer cells go after and fight virally infected cells and fight tumor cells.
Professor Burke's findings have now been accepted by many in the medical community, confirming what clowns have understood throughout history. After all, the ancient Greeks built their hospitals next to amphitheaters so the sick could be entertained. Michael Christensen understands that.
What we do is help create an environment in which healing can take place.
I'm going to do some juggling.
Daniel Deal is 4 years old and has cancer. His father would like to believe that the clowns make a difference.
He's constantly getting needles and he's getting stuck, or, the surgeries and stuff. He sees the clowns coming, he knows nothing's going to happen except he's going to laugh.
When my sugar walks down the
One thing we do know, laughter cannot hurt. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later on 2020, Barbara Walters' interview with Michael J. Fox. And on Nightline, free after 20 years on death row, the man the prosecutors want back. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good weekend. Good night.
Stay with ABC News this weekend. Sunday, slaves in Africa. Why this American man is buying back their freedom. Watch ABC's World News Tonight, Sunday.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
It's college football's championship Saturday. First in the WAC championship, BYU beats Air Force. Then in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship, Texas A&M faces #1 Kansas State. And in prime time, it's the SEC championship presented by Dr. Pepper. #2 Tennessee battles Mississippi State. Oh, championship Saturday on ABC.
Now, News 2 at 6. First, fast, accurate.
Noisy UT fans send their team off in style, hoping for victory at the SEC Championship in Atlanta. Good evening, everyone. The team is there, the fans are on their way, and in just 24